The 18-month acting program at Maggie Flanigan Studio is an acting program in New York that introduces serious actors to the Meisner Technique in a small, intimate studio environment. Troy Press talks about his experience in the acting program and the work ethic that students will need to have.
Yeah, so before I started the 6-week, I'd say I thought it was more performance-based. A lot of classes that I've taken and other places that I've trained, it's been a lot about jumping right into scenes, jumping right into the script, maybe the way the text is being read. When before you get to even all that stuff, and if I was even being taught, properly, or now I'm kind of second guessing it on all the techniques that I've learned before, because this one has kind of hit home with me. Just having a great conversation with somebody, the same way sometimes somebody can say something to you and it makes your day or moves you or motivates you to go to the gym or motivates you to maybe open the door for somebody the next time. It's about taking advantage of those moments in real life. I think from the jump, Charlie kind of set it straight of saying what this class is going to entail and kind of laid it out, and I've appreciated that because me being a competitive athlete and playing at a high level, I have that mentality of somebody just kind of saying, this is what it's going to be. Take it or whatever. And we've had flies drop. I mean, people dropped out of the class. People can't handle the heat or whatever it is. And it's nothing against them. It's just maybe this isn't this style, or maybe the craft isn't for that, whatever it is. But for someone like me, that it kicks up a notch. It sparks something. It makes me go 10 times harder. So I love being back against the wall. You put me there any time of the day. I love that feeling, and I think this class is a prime example of that, because they're going to give you the tools, they're going to give you, the resources and the time to do it. But if you're not putting in the work and you're not mentally preparing and just coming in open, ready to work and ready to leave everything at the door, when you step in, it's a new ball game, then this probably isn't the right place for you. I knew I had certain things installed within, but being able to pull them out when needed at the appropriate times, and that it's not something that you should look down upon if you have something that could trigger you, or if you have emotions that maybe you're like, no, you know what, like I might not want to say that because this could offend somebody. So in life we are doing the acting technique. We're not really being present at all times. So here I've just been surprised at how simple the training can be. It can really open up things for yourself. Being present, taking time to listen to people. I mean, there's still conversations that I have, and you start to check out at some point because you're like, all right, this person's going nowhere, or like whatever. But at the same time, there's times now where I'm in a conversation and I'm giving that person my full attention and feeling more confident about the interaction that we're having, because I'm taking what he or she is saying, and hopefully they're doing the same and living right there at that time. On the athlete side, for me, I used to have 5 a.m. wake ups. It was running in the cold, sweatshirts tied tight for an hour and a half, and that was just the start of the day. Then going back to fueling up, and then watching film about how we're going to get better, and then from there it was like, then we could actually have our craft again of actually playing against each other and competing. And then later that night it was like usually a nighttime lift of some sort of getting the muscles, and then a recovery meal at night. Now I don't know if it was the healthiest pattern, but it just talks about the work ethic that goes into it, something like that. And then even if you're just coming here and it's like, okay, well I have class tonight from 6 to 9, so that's my day's work, right? That's 3 hours where what I just spoke about when I was playing at a very high level, I was busting my from 5 a.m. till 10 at night, on top of doing other stuff, my life and other work things. So now I'm just saying 3 hours compared to a whole day, and I'm not thinking, because maybe if I have this healthier option, I'm going to perform better in class. Yeah, you probably will, because if you're healthier, you're going to be in a healthier state of mind. So everything should just tie in, and you should translate that mentality from crafting to athlete. I'd say this is a little bit healthier in terms of if you're having to dig for a certain scene or a role, or for crafting work. Because obviously you want to live it out, but maybe you're not pulling from a real experience that what I have done before in the past, and that can kind of be draining on you, and almost, to me, it felt like sometimes hurt the scene itself, because you're really just going back to that moment. So maybe I'm pulling something out of, and I'm talking to the person the way I did talk to them, instead of actually, being present with you or whoever it is, and feeding off of them. Maybe maybe my mind was already made up. And again, I think for the mind and the heart and other places, that it just feels more natural to not dive into. But it's tough because you have to be somebody that can really zone in and be able to, live it, breathe it, and believe it. And because if you don't do that, you could say, oh, you know what, maybe it is easier to pull something from my past. I decided to study here because it was recommended by a lot of fellow actor friends of mine, a lot of people in the industry. I finished filming a feature last summer, and one of the writers was telling me all about the studio, and I was, every time you hear something, you're like, oh yeah, whatever. Started hearing it more and more and more, and just lived up to the hype. Like, I'm definitely here for a reason. Charlie, again, I love everything there is about the man, and I feel like if you struggle with taking the heat of a challenge, I don't think this is the place for you. But if you want to get better every single time you step here, if you want to feel like there's a comfortable place for you to create, which I find is tough in any city that you are, it's once you get somewhere and you start feeling comfortable, like, I can really start creating for myself, I can really open up. I think this is definitely a place, but I think Charlie, as we like to say in the athletic world, to me is the GOAT. We say is the greatest of all time.
To learn more about the Fall Meisner Intensive and the other acting programs at the Maggie Flanigan Studio, visit the Acting Programs and Acting Classes page on the website. Admission to the acting programs at the studio is based on an interview with Charlie Sandland. Interested students should visit the admissions page and contact the studio with any questions. Call 917-789-1599.